The Lord be with you. A proclamation from the Holy Gospel according to Mark. At that time, in his teaching, Jesus said, "Beware of the scribes who like to go about in long robes and to have salutations in marketplaces and the best seats in the synagogues and the place of honor at feasts, who devour widows' houses, and for a pretense make long prayers. They will receive the greater condemnation." And he sat down opposite the treasury and watched the multitude putting money into the treasury. Many rich people put in large sums, and a poor widow came and put in 2 copper coins, which make a penny. And he called his disciples to him and said to them, "Truly I say to you, this poor widow has put in more than all those who are contributing to the treasury, for they all contributed out of their abundance. But she, out of her poverty, has put in everything she had." Our whole living. The Gospel of the Lord. Good morning and happy weekend to you all. We are back in ordinary times, and we thank the good Lord for all his goodness, his kindness, his generosity. We thank him for the gift of life, for the gift of all that he has given to us, for the gift of our possession, for the gift of our family, for everything that we have. For we know that all that we have comes from him. In today's gospel reading, Jesus warned his disciples against the scribes and the Pharisees who like to take place of honor, and they like to be greeted in marketplaces, to be recognized actually, of course, because of their position. And I can bet you I've heard people saying that in many ways in different times too, where somebody will say to you, if I, as a reverend father, for example, you say, "Good morning, sir," and you begin to hear the word like, "Hey, don't call me sir, call me father," that kind of a thing. But the word of God telling us today is that these people need to be mindful. Get me right, it is not the case that Jesus do not like them. It is not the case that Jesus did not work or relate with the Pharisees. It is not the case that Jesus did not mingle with those who were rich. We know Jesus was found with the tax collectors many times. We know he had visited the Pharisees. And remember, some of these Pharisees were also his disciples. So Jesus had a relationship with them. But Jesus will not condone their act of hypocrisy. And that is the same way that as ministers of God, we, because of our position, whether we like it or not, we have that position that is revered. And you find many people actually coming closer to us. You find many top officials, governors, presidents, whatever, they relate with us easily, and we relate with them easily. They can come to our house. We don't even have to tell them we are coming before we get there, because they respect us. But when we are respected, how do we act? Do we actually still represent who we are in their presence, or we are trying to dance to their tune, which is very easy? Because many times, like I was sharing on a conference recently, and I was saying that what the church institutions have to do to help in our political system, the governance. Because most of these people, the president, the governor, the minister, the member of the House of Representatives, they all either Christians or Muslims or whatever, and they actually relate with us. So it is an opportunity for us as men and women of God to actually proclaim the good news to them. To be like a check and balance for what they do. But guess what? Many times we enter the same shoe they are wearing and we begin to do things even worse than they are. That instead of actually giving them the word of life, we're actually looking for what they can give to us. And Jesus said we should be careful of those, because by the time we do that, we become insensitive to the people we are supposed to represent, the poor. And Jesus said here, because they take places of honor at feasts and devour widows' houses. Because the very poor people that come to worship, instead of actually helping them to be better or to support them in their daily living, we still want to take what belongs to them. And that gives a direction to the second portion of today's gospel reading, again from Mark chapter 12. And the second portion of that is that as Jesus sat down in the church or in the temple, wherever you want to call it, and he was in front. Like if you go to Catholic church in some places, you see the priest sit down, and then there's collection money in front of him, and people come and give it while he's blessing them. So that kind of an idea. That Jesus also sat in front of the treasury and began to see people dropping, gifts for God. And they were given in lump sum. But there come this widow, whom Jesus described as poor widow. Not, in Israel, when you say somebody is a widow, it already connotes poverty. Because the woman is not expected to work, is supposed to depend on the livelihood that is being brought by the husband. So if the husband dies, who takes care of her? Nobody. So we always consider widows as poor. That's why you see you talk about the orphans, the widow, because they say they are poor. Now for Jesus to now say poor widow, it's like to stress how poor this woman was, and then only have to drop 2 silver or 2 copper coin, which actually would make like a penny. And Jesus called the disciples to himself and said, you see, people have brought in money here, but this poor widow had given more because she gave all that she had. At the beginning, I was saying we thank God for the gift. She was still able to thank God for the gift that she has. Not because she was compared by the Pharisees or by the scribes to drop the money. No, because she in herself recognized the fact that God is being good, that whatever she had belongs to God, and I can offer them back to God. Anytime I'm preaching about this, what we call widow's mite, we call it. I remember the situation in one parish where I was as a pastor, and then I was preaching about the widow's mite, and I was trying to test the whole congregation on that day, and I said, you know what? Today, all of us, we are going to give our widow's mite. And what is this widow's mite? Is the fact that we are going to give everything on us. Whatever is in your pocket, whatever is in your wallet, you have to drop it. And I noticed few people went out, but that's okay. But eventually, after the mass, of course, people came. I wouldn't know whether they gave all or they gave half. But after the mass, I found a woman crying outside. And I moved closer to her and I said, woman, what happened? Why are you crying? And she said, when you asked us to bring the widow's mite, I know I was having some money on me, and it was actually not my money, and I did not want to drop it. So I went outside and I hid it under the stone. But now I came back, I couldn't find the money. Somebody have taken the money. Anyway, why are you hiding from the Lord? It was just a simple test. Can you give all that you have? But guess what? It's not all about the material things that we can give. The highest gift you can give to God, either as a minister or as a church member or the follower of Christ, is your life. My life I give to you. When you can give your life, you can give all you have. And when you can give all that you have, God will give you back abundantly, exceedingly, above you can ever ask or imagine. Because if you can entrust everything that you have to He, who Colossians chapter 3 verse 11 says, is in all and is all. So if it's everything, and you can give all to He who has everything, For whom everything was created, and nothing was created without him, as St. John says, chapter 1. You need not to worry, because your very needs will be supplied. I said needs. Don't think in terms of prosperity, but your needs. You will not go hungry. You will not be thirsty. You will not be naked. You will not be sleeping outside, because you have entrusted everything to the giver of life. And of course, your soul will be protected. So as we continue in our journey today, let us continue to not be like the scribes who try to lord it over people and they cannot help. We should know that we are supposed to be helpers to people, not inflicting more pains to their pains they are already having. And as priests and religious and the pastors and overseers, that we have opportunity to actually affect the life of others, let us do so. And also as church members or the follower of Christ, let us also be open, as to give all. Don't to say that I only have one, because you can still give out of one. You can divide one in halves. And if you're having half, you can divide it into quarter. You can always give. If you cannot give when it is small, I bet you it will be difficult for you to give when you have plenty. It's a great gift we need to abide with, and to make everything to be open and to be grateful with all that we have. May God bless us both now and forevermore. Have a nice weekend.